Gary Anandasangari once again embarrasses himself, this time on a live interview with CTV's Vashi Kapelos.
If you'll permit me, I'm going to start very bluntly. Why aren't you resigning?
First of all, we introduced, as you know, the assault-style firearm compensation program today. It's a mandate that was given to me by the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister received a mandate to execute on this program as part of the election that took place in April. I'm implementing the program. As we were contemplating the launch, we knew there are a number of things will come our way to both obstruct as well as derail this announcement. And that's what happened last Sunday, as you're aware. But I'm absolutely resolved to implement and bring forward this program to Canadians.
I take your characterization as, what happened, the aim of it being to obstruct, and certainly the leak came from an organization that doesn't want to see this go ahead. But you have not refuted the content of what was leaked, and that's why I asked you about whether or not you're going to resign. And I'll ask more specifically what informs that question. You told the individual in that conversation that you can't explain the logic of the buyback program. If the public safety minister in charge of implementing the program can't explain its justification, why should Canadians accept one?
So this is a conversation that took, it was a 20-minute conversation, 20 minutes or so conversation. It was recorded without my knowledge. Notwithstanding that, much of the conversation were part of previous conversations I've had with this individual. The logic of this, I know he does not accept. I have tried to explain this in the past. We have not been able to agree on it, so that's why I dismissed it as such. I believe in the program. I ran on this program when I ran to be an MP. A couple of things there were completely, where I was misguided. There was two times at one point I said I will bail him out, and another time I said I will compensate him. Obviously they're in jest in a private conversation, not to be taken at face value.
But you're a minister. With all due respect, you're a minister of the Crown who is in charge of the public safety of this country. Why would you make light of a program you know is fraught with controversy?
Actually, this is a 20-minute conversation I had with someone I've known for many years. I'm sure if you were recorded in a private conversation, there may be things that you would have said, or things, the way you say it, that may be different than in a public setting. I fundamentally believe in this program. I've always believed in this program. That's why, in fact, even the conversation was started because I wanted to advise him of what the program going ahead. It wasn't about saying I don't believe in it. It was about saying we're going ahead. These are the elements of it. And look, I think the bigger issue here is the program is launched, and it is launched with a pilot in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, and we look forward to expanding it across Canada.
Believe me, I have many questions about the launch of the program and the effectiveness or lack thereof of it. But when you say, when you kind of try to diminish the significance of what you said, and I understand it's a longer conversation, I understand it wasn't recorded with your permission, but the bottom line is your comments are out there now in public discourse, in the public domain, and these are Canadians as a whole in the aggregate who are looking to you as the Minister of Public Safety to ensure their own public safety. The things you do, I think they should be trusting of the fact that they are with the intent to be in the in the name of public safety. You also reference in this conversation political implications. Quebec is in a different place than other parts of Canada, right? And this is something that is very much a big deal for many of the Quebec electorate that voted for us. You also go on to say that you would have a, quote, very different approach. Yeah. What about those comments would imbue a sense of confidence among Canadians in this program when you yourself, Minister, don't appear to have it?
So let's talk about Quebec for a second. So in Quebec, we've had three major incidents involving firearms. So we had the major one, of course, being L'École Polytechnique. Then we had very recently the Quebec City mosque shooting, and then we had Dawson. So these are many instances where Quebecers have a heightened sense of gun violence, and they've been deeply impacted by it. If you look at polling, for example, actually 80% of Quebecers support this, 70% of rural Quebecers support this program. This is very much an important issue for many of our caucus members, including, of course, Natalie Prevost, who is a survivor of the L'École Polytechnique. So in that context, Quebec is an important part of it, but it's not just Quebec.
Are they more important, though, than the 70% of Albertans and Saskatchewans who don't support the program? Just because you have more MPs
there's
there?
Those on the Danforth, as you know, the shooting on the Danforth that happened several years ago. We've had a number of incidents, for example, the Mass Casualty Commission in Nova Scotia. That's precisely why we're doing this in Nova Scotia, the pilot. What's clear is that this is an important issue for Canadians. I reference Quebec because there's particular history in Quebec with gun violence that I wanted to highlight. And we are here today ready to launch the national program within the next several weeks.
Are you worried about the impact, though, in Quebec because you have so many MPs there, because it's been so key to your electoral gains in the last election? And are you not worried about the public opinion polling in Alberta and Saskatchewan because you don't have representation there? And is this then as crass a political move as a policy one?
This is not a crass political move at all. This is a move to ensure that their safety of Canadians are paramount. We have an issue with gun violence right now. We see it on our streets. We see it across the country. It's not, Alberta or Saskatchewan are not immune from it. At this moment, there's multiple prongs of responses that we need. One, this is one of several responses the government have, which is about ensuring that AR-15s, for example, are off our communities, outside of our communities. People are compensated for their return. We also have criminal justice reform that Minister Fraser is working on. As you know, bail reform is something that he will be introducing in the next several weeks, as well as other criminal justice reforms. This is complemented by the $1.3 billion investment at our borders that we did last December, along with 1,000 new RCMP and CBSA officers that we're working on.
How many have been hired?
Well, right now, the actual, we're waiting for the budget decision.
They haven't hired any. They're waiting for the budget decision, which is going to come out when? They say at the beginning of November, but we don't even know if that's actually the case. At the end of the day, there is not one thing this minister can say that I will believe, period. There is no amount of damage control that can be ran to fix this man's career or his public image, especially after this leaked audio. I said it before and I'll say it again. You're an MP, not a stand-up comedian. And when he's claiming that he has ran on this policy and campaigned on it during the election and built his image up around it, and then in a leaked audio call, he's saying the exact opposite, that definitely comes off as a bit of an issue, Gary. Just saying, buddy. And I gotta give kudos where it's due. Vashi is known for typically going after the Conservatives pretty hard. CTV is known for their bias, just like the CBC, and seeing her actually come out here and tear Gary apart, it's pretty satisfying, I can't lie. This needs to be the standard going forward, though, for any mainstream media outlet. That we did last December, along with 1,000 new RCMP and CBSA officers that we're working on.
How many have been hired?
Well, right now, the actual, we're waiting for the budget decision, first of all, but we are in the process. So Depot, for example, in Regina, are working on the training program to enhance and to ensure that the 1,000 that are going to go through the system can be trained, and we have capacity to do the training. So the prep work is happening, and as soon as the budget is finalized, we will be rolling this out.
It's been months, to be fair, since your government promised that they would do that. On the effectiveness of the program, because I want to ask about the policy itself. How can you assure Canadians it will be effective in combating increases, as you point to, in gun violence? Every police, any individual representing police that we've spoken to has pointed to the border as the primary, point of concern when it comes to obtaining weapons that are used in gun crimes, that the majority in their assessment of the ones that are used are not legally owned. You have the OPP saying, we're not going to enforce this program. Enforcement is something you even referenced in that leaked phone call. You have Alberta and Saskatchewan saying that they're going to put up roadblocks to the enforcement of the program. What evidence do you have to tell Canadians tonight that this program will be effective?
Actually, there are roughly 180,000 prohibited weapons in people's homes, people's businesses, people's storage. They are licensed gun owners. They have had it. We have prohibited 2,500 of these items, models and makes since 2020. We've had 3 separate orders and councils totaling 2,500 makes and models. What we expect is that AR-15s, for example, there's roughly about between 80 to 90,000 AR-15s that are out in the community. We anticipate people will be taking advantage of this program, get compensation for returning the item or deactivating it to ensure that it cannot be used. What we do want to, this is,
but if that, with respect,
as I said,
if that isn't the crux of the problem, if the crux of the problem is illegally obtained weapons coming in from the U.S., why isn't the priority placed on actually hiring the people at the border that you said months ago that you would hire? Why isn't the priority on making sure $750 million that you will allot to this program is effectively spent and that police forces are going to enforce it? We have none of those assurances at this moment.
So let me start with the dollars involved in this program. So this was all previously budgeted. So this was all part of several budget cycles, including budget.
It's great. It's all taxpayer money. It's all our money.
Well, it is already budgeted. It's been, the commitment was made, so we're implementing it. In terms of where the effectiveness of the program is, this is one of several actions we're taking. So on the $1.3 billion we have put towards borders, those funds have already, much of it has already been spent in terms of new technology, in terms of making sure that we have Black Hawk helicopters, we have additional scanning devices. I've been across the border, to many borders this summer, and I've seen those dollars at work. The hiring of the RCMP and CBSA officers, it was a commitment we made at the April election. As you know, it takes time for the money to be
even prior to that,
appropriated.
under Prime Minister Trudeau, there was a promise to do so. I know you weren't the minister at the time, but that
so,
existed at the
so
time.
we will be implementing it. We're waiting for the budget decision. But these are, and we're bringing forward criminal justice reform. So it is a multi-pronged approach. This is one of several things that we need to do. It's not a binary choice of doing one or the other. It's about doing multiple things, and frankly, to put whatever we can on the table to ensure that guns are off our streets.
But what if whatever you can isn't the most effective approach? And again, you may say that the money is already allotted. $750 million of taxpayer money is not something to hope is effective, right? I think Canadians rightly would think, this for sure has to be effective. Now they have police forces who aren't sure or have rejected the idea of enforcing it, and they have the minister in charge of actually implementing the program in a leaked conversation, casting doubt on whether or not it should even go forward, and saying that he would himself pursue a different approach.
I mean, with great respect, I did not say it shouldn't go forward. I did say that I would have done it differently, which is contextually very different.
Is it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. When I say something, when there is a program that I'm implementing that, has been in the works for 5 years, and I'm at the tail end of implementing it, then
it's been promised for 5 years. It's barely been in the works. This is only the second pilot.
Well, there's been a number of there's been a number of attempts, and I'm implementing it. I'm tasked to implement it. And what I've said was I would have done it differently, right? I would not have.
But isn't that enough to cast out for Canadians who are wondering, is my money going to be spent?
Vashi, you have a different approach to journalism than another colleague who may be doing the exact same role. I have a different approach to the way I engage and I do programs than another minister who would have done this separately. It doesn't mean that either one of us is right or wrong. It is, all I'm saying is that I probably would have done differently. I would have done primarily on the timing of it. I would not have left it continue for 5 years. I probably would have had it done a lot earlier. There was some confusion, as you know, as we did the 3 orders in council. There was confusion, there's frustration, there's distrust, and one of the things that I would have liked to avoid is bringing legitimate hunters, legitimate people who own, law-abiding people who own firearms as part of the conversation.
I'm incredibly confused because that word salad was like no other. That word salad puts Kamala Harris to shame. You could create a new drinking game just with this minister alone. Every time he fumbles a word or forgets his job, take a shot. Anyway, I would like to know what you think down in the comments section below, and have a good one.